Hey folks, it's Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is part 2 of how pleasure causes problem. Hopefully it's obvious you was able to hang with me, so let's continue on. Next we're going to start with, let's take a look at our indulgence in pleasurable foods. The movie Super Size Me illustrates how indulging in gross pleasurable foods on a daily basis quickly leads to health problems. If you haven't seen that movie, you really need to go watch it and see how even a short period of just eating at McDonald's can cause you some serious health problems. And you can go watch it at YouTube for free, so go do that if you want. Most people know it's not healthy to eat out for every meal. We all know that, or at least most of us do. And when I was a kid, you didn't even have the luxury of eating out every day. I mean, it was if I ate out, it was probably once a week at most, and it was only when company came over. Heck, I'm not even convinced I got it once a week even. So, I mean, look at kids today. I mean, it's like every other meal it seems like it's eating out. So, okay. So next, go to the next sentence. How about when the pleasures become... Okay, let's go back. Most people know it's not healthy to eat out for every meal. How about when the pleasures become more subtle, like a home-cooked meal? You may not realize it. There is a lot of pleasure in a home-cooked meal. Think about what you're doing. You take this potato that's natural, healthy, as nutritious as it possibly can. Then you cook it down, mash it around, add salt, add butter, add maybe sour cream or something. You're taking something that's really nutritious and healthy and you're making it less nutritious and healthy by cooking it down. I'm not saying not cook it a little bit if you need to, but I mean you could eat it raw. I don't think they have worms or anything in them, you know. So you're going to get the maximum nutrition out of your food by not cooking it. And notice typically you won't overeat on those foods because it's got a natural stopping mechanism in it when you don't add all these pleasures to it. Maybe hard for you to believe, but it is the case. Okay, how about when pleasures become more solid? Do you see the dangers in it, or is it too subtle? A lot of home-cooked meals, the pleasures in it is probably too hard for most people to see. Have you ever heard of anyone who had a heart attack and had to change their diet to simple, bland foods? So the dangers is obvious if you think about it. I mean, most of us probably know people that had to change their diet because they have heart condition, they had to eat bland, simple foods, and bitch and complain about it. Well, that's what you should be eating anyway. And really, they're not that bland if you give your senses time to heighten by not eating so much. They taste pretty good if you ever watch Survivor. Those people like, oh my God, this is delicious, it's orgasmic, you know. So it will be delicious. You just have to give it time. Again, baby step. Give yourself years, 5 years or something to do it. Don't 6 months, 3 months think you're just gonna quit and do it all over again. You don't want to be like Oprah, cycle back and forth. You want a slow, steady progress. Okay. Notice that wild animals do not have the luxury of indulging in pleasurable foods, and they are healthier than you, which we already covered. If you want to reconnect with the essence of life, you have to live simpler. I am not saying going backwards. I'm saying move forward in sustainable ways without losing your connection with nature. Life is about progressing. I ain't saying everybody go back in the woods and give up everything. I'm not saying that. I'm saying move forward in a sustainable way. And you do that by getting in harmony with nature, not by being arrogant, pleasure-seeking, lacking morals and stuff like that. That's not progress. So let's don't mistake the two, what I'm saying. Problems only become big problems when they aren't dealt with. Undealt with problems grow unrestrained like a tree slowly encroaching on every aspect of your life. You know, the truth is one pleasure ain't going to break you. Problem is you don't indulge in one pleasure. You indulge in thousands of pleasures every day that you don't even realize you're doing. So it's like, you know, if I took a little knife, a little Swiss Army knife, and just made a little nick here, it wouldn't kill me. But you do that enough times, it's going to turn the skin into nasty stuff, and it may eventually kill you. So it's like it's the death of 1,000 nicks or 1,000,000 nicks, you know. So don't underestimate the cumulative power of pleasure to bring you down. Okay, so let me make sure I've done all that. Okay. You find your... Okay, so as these pleasures encroach on your life, you start finding that you're lost, you're confused, and you're pathetic wondering, how did I get here? How did I get here? How did I get in this shape? You hear it in songs too. Oh, there ain't no, I can't remember the group right now, but there's no getting back to good. Yeah, there is. You got to start doing the work, though. You can't just wish it back to good. It has been obvious to the wise men for a long time what's happening, what's going on, what's needed. However, they're typically ignored or ridiculed or made fun of. Oh, that's no big deal. It's just a little pleasure. A little bit ain't going to hurt you. Moderation. There ain't no moderation with pleasure. There ain't no moderation with cocaine, heroin, hash. You know, there just ain't. You don't moderate with it. Small pleasures aren't considered problems, therefore they are indulged in on a daily basis. In fact, they may even be encouraged. The consequences are the same as with illicit drugs, except that it can take much longer periods of time for the full consequences of those indulgences to be realized. I see a guy, he comes in the gym, he brings in donuts, feeds it to the people, and they love him because he's feeding. I'm like, do you not see what he's doing? He's just destroying you from the inside out, and you're welcoming me. I come in inside. If I came in and offered them broccoli, plain, simple broccoli, they would be like, get away from me, freak. You know what I mean? So they're not going to appreciate you. You're going to be ridiculed. That's fine. Okay. Why do you think each generation gets more pathetic and less moral than the generation before? It's really no secret, folks. We keep indulging in every little pleasure. Look at if you have any grandparents, ask them about how life has changed from then to now. And you'll notice that you're able to indulge in probably at least twice as many pleasures as they have, probably if not 10 times. And that's what's wrong. It's that cycle. Each generation gets a little more pathetic than the generation before it, until eventually that is unsustainable, and eventually we have to either change our ways and go back, or society has to collapse and we have to be taught a hard lesson the hard way. Maybe some of you can avoid it. And when the society collapses, which probably will eventually, maybe 100 years, maybe 1,000, there'll be somebody to teach the fools what's going on. Okay. And here's what happens. We indulge a little more each day. In fact, wise people warned a long time ago against it, but they were ignored or ridiculed, like I said before. Live a little bit was the slogan. Oh, a little bit ain't going to hurt you. So vigilance was lost, one indulgence at a time. Think of the pleasures. Yeah. I've already sort of touched on that. How does a fat person become fat? One bite after another bite. Think about it. Question it. How does a fat person become fat? One bite at a time. Ask yourself these questions when you see people with problems. How did they get there? What's the step-by-step process that led to that failure? And don't take an easy excuse. Oh, it's a thyroid problem. I don't want to hear that. Okay. I'm not saying there ain't some people with thyroid problems. I'm just saying in general, that's not the case. All those comforts and pleasures we indulge in destroy us in small ways each day. It passes on from one generation to the next until the society collapses, which I've already said. How does a fat person become skinny? By giving up pleasure, by controlling what goes in their mouth. You got to start taking personal responsibility for your actions and controlling yourself. It's not real hard to figure out. And here's what I'm saying. By giving up pleasures that go in the mouth, and by facing the misery of giving them up. The misery is what keeps most people away from eating simple, bland foods, but the misery is only temporary until the mind fully adjusts. So there's consequences. For every pleasure you indulge in, there's going to be equal misery, like we talked about on the sleigh ride. You went down the hill, you're going to have to go back up, and it's going to be rough. All I've talked about is food, but it applies to all comforts and conveniences, from air conditioning, soft beds, warm water, music, TV, and the list goes on and on. You know, you got iPods, lattes. I mean, it's just, and I hate, and I'm going to harp on this, but I probably shouldn't. I hate seeing somebody wear a Live Strong bracelet, eating chocolate cake, or drinking a latte. I'm like, you know what? Either put the latte down or take the bracelet off, because I can't stand a hypocrite. You know, if you're gonna live strong, and second of all, if you walk the walk, you don't have to talk the talk. So if you wear a bracelet, that typically means you're not a strong person. A really strong person doesn't have to wear a bracelet. Just like a wild animal don't have to tell you it's a wild animal. You know it. Sorry, got a little sidetracked there. Okay. Okay, I better stop this one and pick it up on the third one. Gosh, I hope this don't go to the fourth one. I think it's just going to do one more. Hang with me if you can. If you can't, I understand. It gets a little long. Later, folks.